Bloober Team had a major success with the Silent Hill 2 remake. They took a classic, modernised the visuals, refined the gameplay, and captured the atmosphere perfectly. That project proved they can handle deep, psychological survival horror while respecting source material, and it set them up to create their own original IP.
Focus your attention. What do you see? Dark.
Cronos, The New Dawn, clearly benefits from that experience. Players who enjoyed the Silent Hill 2 remake will feel right at home. The tension, pacing, the attention to detail in all of their environments, and the soundtrack, much of that expertise carries right over into this game, and you can see it.
You can't. Don't be scared.
You play as Traveller ND3576, sent into a future world that is deteriorating and plagued by this mysterious disease. Your objective is to survive, navigate the hazards, and uncover the events that led to the world's collapse. This sees you travelling back and forth between future and also the past. The narrative is definitely delivered gradually. It's got a lot of the cutscenes, and it does do a lot of environmental storytelling from you picking up pages. But I will say, it kept me engaged throughout the entire playthrough and didn't really interrupt anything. I never really felt like, oh, this is a bit of a chore or I don't understand. Now, before I go any further, I just want to quickly talk about some technical issues because it can be rough. I found on my PC, I'm running a 3090 Ti, which I understand these days is getting a little bit outdated. Should still be able to handle a lot of these games, and for majority of my playthrough, it did. I just found that kind of traversing some areas, like loading in from one area to another, caused me to stutter and dip quite a bit in a lot of my FPS. Again, not game breaking, still playable the entire way through. Just frustrating, and let's hope that can get fixed. In addition to that, I crashed twice, and that was only loading into new sections, so it wasn't in the middle of a fight or anything like that. I played it on max settings with ray tracing on DLSS quality. For me, it was mostly fine. Issues are noticeable sometimes. I did feel some dips in FPS when it came to some fights, but again, nothing really to put me off. It wasn't stuttering at about 5 FPS. But still, these things need to be fixed, and hopefully they will do in an update.
I've reached Sector A11.
You start with your basic pistol, and as you play the game, you gain additional guns, grenades, and other equipment. Again, later on, I don't want to have any major spoilers for you guys, but you do get some traversal upgrades as well. I won't spoil it, but you do get some stuff to your suit, which shakes that up a little bit. Again, nothing groundbreaking, but I will say that it is better than nothing. It's nice to have these things that kind of tack on to the experience as you're playing, rather than just kind of stagnating. I thought there was a pretty neat mechanic where you can use your gun to kind of slightly rewind time on some of the puzzles, which seems to be the main puzzles. There's stuff like rewinding time to lift a platform up and you have to stand on it, stuff like that. I will say that the weapons feel pretty good. You have your normal left click, which is just a standard fire, and you can hold left click as well to charge up your weapon, whether that's the pistol or a shotgun, and do a more damaging attack. I found myself holding left click majority of the time. I just found that was much easier in terms of getting rid of the enemies. Left clicking just seemed to have wasted ammo, which we'll get onto because ammo is a bit of a problem going down the line. But yeah, so the weapons feel good, they feel weighty. I enjoyed them quite a bit, and it was nice to kind of see more and more weapons as the game went on. Again, not going to spoil which ones you get, but yeah, they were pretty decent. The puzzles are very basic but clever, I'd say. The kind that sometimes it just had me kind of scratching my head because I'm just a bit too stupid to figure them out. Very simple stuff, but just in the moment when I'm playing, I just can't see where the next thing is. They never really feel overwhelming though, and they usually kind of tie into your progression. It's a very linear based game, so usually if there's a puzzle in your way, it needs to be done in order to go to the next area. There are some smaller rooms here and there. You get some bolt cutters, exact same as Silent Hill and all these survival horror games like Resident Evil, and that's how you progress into those to give yourself some more items. I will say the level design transitions quite smoothly. You go from, at the start of the game, from tight apartments to quite larger areas later on. Again, you need to find yourself some keys, and you get bolt cutters eventually. Lots of hidden secrets. Linear, but I would say it's still quite rewarding to explore. Again, we know this is Bloober Team, we know they've done Silent Hill 2 Remake, but it does feel very Silent Hill inspired. You know, players familiar with that remake will kind of instantly feel comfortable navigating the spaces. It's almost like the hospital area or the prison area in Silent Hill. There's pretty much a one-to-one remake for a lot of these places with just a different art style. Now onto the combat. Now I find it's quite challenging, but it's also fair in some places. The main thing is that you need to manage your ammo, positioning, and use your tools wisely. You can't just run gun-ho into a fight in this game, you will die. There are some environmental interactions. You can blow up a group of enemies, or there's a lot of fire barrels and stuff. You also have, for me on PC, middle mouse click, which is a little kind of flame burst, which is nice as well. So there are some different options. There is a mechanic in the game where if there are bodies laying on the floor and you don't stomp on them, the enemies merge with them and eventually get stronger and stronger. I really like this. I think this is actually quite a cool mechanic. It definitely shakes it up a little bit and almost adds a little bit of stress to these situations where you have to almost go into a room, stomp on all the bodies before anyone comes out and tries to kill you. I think it's pretty decent, but in terms of the actual style of the enemies, it can be quite repetitive. You do end up seeing different styles in terms of there's a spitter, there's a large one, there's a faster one that has less health. You do kind of see that plastered over and over and over again. I think you see a lot of the variety of enemies at the start of the game, and then it trickles later on. So I think the characters look cool. I really like the spacesuit. When later on you do end up meeting other characters, I think again they look great. The voice acting is a little bit lackluster, but still good. The main character, I ended up having to Google it. I thought it was the same voice actor for Celine from Returnal, but it's not. I think it's just the way it's been mixed. It just sounds very, very similar. But meeting other characters, they look cool. It's nice to see other things and it's nice to see cutscenes, but I feel like their interactions don't always carry that much weight. Cutscenes are definitely serviceable. They advance the story. They don't drag anything out. They don't explain too much all in one go. They don't info dump on you, which I think is a really, really good thing. They introduce you to a character, have a little bit of lore or a backstory, and then you move on to the next area. Now, the big standout thing for me, visual and audio design. Because my God, I am such a sucker for stuff like this. Having played Returnal, I definitely feel some inspiration here. Whether they haven't done it intentionally or not, I'm not entirely sure. I think the UI is definitely there. A lot of the voice acting from the main character is quite similar. The world itself, it's very future tech, alien, rundown planets, nature sprinkled here and there. I think it just looks fantastic. Sound design as well, top notch. I think that the guns sound really, really punchy, which is a great thing. The enemies sound good as well, and you can just hear a lot of the environment kind of whistling by as you're walking through. I think it's really cool. Now, to get on to the next big thing is the music, because my God, I felt like I was watching Blade Runner. Some of these moments, take a look at this and just listen to this. And you can't tell me that doesn't sound awesome. Like, it just sounds straight out of a Blade Runner movie. I really think the music's a great standout. I think it's done a great job, and throughout the whole game, the soundtrack was just top notch. So of course, I think it's not perfect. I think enemy variety is quite limited. Animations can definitely feel quite stiff. Again, if it's almost like a copy-paste from Silent Hill, but you do get stuck on some things here and there. A lot of the enemies do lunge towards you, and you find it quite hard to get out of aim, turn and move away. There's no dodge mechanic, there's no dash. You almost have to take a shot, back off, or move out of the way because someone could throw a projectile at you or something like that. So after you complete the game, the story offers multiple endings, so it does encourage a lot of replayability, which I quite like. And after you complete the main campaign, it does unlock hard mode and it unlocks New Game Plus, which I really like. So once you've done your main playthrough, hit up New Game Plus and you can kind of try the true ending. So it gives you more of a reason to kind of revisit and experiment with different strategies. I will say the game will probably be quite similar. There are some little choices here and there with some characters. Again, I won't spoil too much, but you can have some little voice dialogues and make some decisions. Some very light decisions, but still decisions. Overall, I think this is a good sign and a good step in the right direction for Bloober Team. Although not as good as the Silent Hill 2 remake, I feel like they've confidently stepped into their own IP. There are some rough edges, some stiff animations, repeated enemies, and some technical hiccups currently, but the atmosphere, level design, music, short puzzles, and progression make it a really engaging experience in my opinion. So for anyone who enjoys tense, atmospheric survival horror with some punchy combat, decent linear exploration, couple puzzles here and there, and a few small moments of calm, like petting a cat, because for some reason they have cats in the game, I think it's a game worth playing. Again, it's not for everyone. Check out some reviews for yourself, but I personally really liked my playthrough. I was keen to see what was coming next. I just recommend, if you want to, give it a shot yourself. If you made it all the way to the end, I really, really appreciate it. This is my first ever video, and I can't lie, this was a massive undertaking. I never thought it would be as big as this. So it's taken me quite a while to edit this all together and get it all sorted. But thank you so much if you watched all the way to the end. If you agree with some of my points or disagree with some of my points, please leave a comment down below. Let me know how I did. Again, this is brand new to me, all very rough, so things will get better over time. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one.